Hello, beautiful Smack Talk fans. It's time for a year review with the professor. So sit back and relax. Also tell your mother I said hi. She just loves me.
Well done, you didn't die. You survived 2018. And now you're in 2019. How are you enjoying it so far? You now live in the Blade Runner universe. Is it everything you hoped for? Yeah, probably not. Who knows how things will turn out this year, but let's look back at 2018. Here are some of the highlights. Elon Musk sent a car into space because why the fuck not? Then, for a good portion of June, the news was all about some Thai kids trapped in a cave. Now, I haven't seen that many young Asian boys stuck in a tight spot since your dad was on shore leave. Alison Mack was arrested and got into trouble for recruiting hot, vulnerable girls into a sex cult. Just as I was about to renew my membership too. Bugger! The Frenchies decided to chimp out in yellow vests and have a good old-fashioned riot, setting the tone for the dystopia to come. There was, and is, Brexit trouble. We don't talk about Brexit. Of course, 2018 was filled to the brim with politics. Remember when Kim Jong-un tried to earn good boy points by shaking hands with South Korea? The same hands that'll be used to fire off his nukes if he ever gets them working again. But for me, the biggest political snafu was the farcical anti-Trump blimp that the media hyped up, which turned out to be just an oversized balloon. This was supposed to make Trump feel unwelcome during his visit to England, and to sensationalize this, some drag queens took to protesting with the symbol of delusional hubris. So much for serious protests. This is my country. People ask me where I stand with Donald Trump, and all I can say is, I don't care about Donald Trump. He's literally not my president. I'm certainly not going to get into a tizzy over every silly tweet and diplomatic visit. Why are we Brits so oversensitive? What happened to the old adage of keep calm and carry on? I don't care about Trump. He'll be irrelevant in a few years, like all the other presidents. Besides, we've got bigger concerns with the Brexit mishandling. Anyway, fuck politics. Let's talk films, TV shows, and games. Basically, I'm covering some of the stuff I missed reviewing last year. Let's start with some crap. Ready Player One came out last year, and it was a CGI monument to geek culture. It's based on a book, and is about a nerd named Wade Watts, who dons a digital Twinkie avatar called Parzival, and goes on escapades in a big virtual world called The Oasis to escape from his horrible daily life. The film starts off promising, with its depiction of a futuristic dystopia that everyone wants to escape from via virtual reality. But soon the references take over, and it just becomes, hey, remember that film? Get this reference? How about this one? Hey, remember The Shining? We're going to shit all over Stanley Kubrick's legacy. I find it odd that in The Oasis, all the pop culture references are mostly 80s and 90s ones. I know we are culturally stagnating now with reboots, but are you telling me there has been no new big blockbusters or intellectual properties developed in the future? Why would our future be obsessed with decades-old stuff? Be like me going into VR chat now and saying, hey gang, do you like the ink spots? And how about that Mae West? Isn't she a dish? There are furries in the future, so at least that part of the virtual world seems believable. We follow Parzival and his gang of geeks as they go on a quest to find virtual Easter eggs so they can claim ownership of the Oasis before a big evil company does. Along the way, Parzival falls in love with a girl on the internet, who is actually a girl and not a 40-year-old sex offender. The twist is, she has a birthmark that she is extremely embarrassed about. Oh, come on. Her face isn't that damaged, just a little bruised. I'd still smash that, and I'm sure a Saudi prince would still pay top dollar for her. This film is predictable and also forgettable. Boy and girl fall in love, big corporation gets defeated by Parzival's encyclopedic knowledge of nerd shit, and a pair of friendship yada yada, plus they win the Oasis. Simon Pegg even shows up to tell them that nerd culture is the product of a late capitalist conspiracy designed to infantilize the consumer as a means of non-aggressive control. Wait, he should have said that. I'm just quoting what he told the Radio Times. Whoops. I'd like to have seen more of the real world. That looked more interesting than the gaudy oasis full of references. Having said that, here's some trivia for you. The dystopian parts were filmed in Birmingham, in England, which coincidentally is where the producer of this show lives. He gets to experience this ugly future hellscape on a daily basis. Would I recommend the book? Fuck no! The whole thing is just word salad filled with dated pop culture references. It's pure tedium to read, and the main character feels like a Gary Stu self-insert for the author. I don't know why it gets the praise it does, and because of the references, it'll be hilariously dated in under a decade. That's why Ready Player One sucks. It has no real substance of its own, only bits of more recognizable and better media. It relies on references and computer-generated effects for depth. But it's a shallow movie. Where is Andy gone? Well, video games. Let me tell you my thoughts on that big gaming event last year that we all know and hate. E3! We had Electronic Arts show up with Bond villain Andrew Wilson, who brought us tiny scraps from the table at the dinner party of shit. We got the standard sports bollocks that comes out every year, a sequel to Unravel drenched in tweeness and sentimentality. Although, I won't be too hard on the developer. He was less anxious than last time. Guess he got some confidence. Or maybe Andrew threatened his family. Also, we had another Indie Feels game trailer as a middle-aged German woman lectured us on the perils of loneliness. Command & Conquer is now a mobile game and should be avoided like a dirty needle because EA's mobile games are pure cancer. Oh, my precious Dungeon Keeper. Bastards! A new Star Wars game was demonstrated by sitting next to the developer and having a stilted chat. No concept art, no CGI trailer, just words delivered by a nervous guy. EA shareholders fucking pull out now! There was Battlefield 5 taking World War II into strange territory as an alternative history shambles with amputee lady snipers. It flopped like a dead tuna on a fishing boat. But EA's big reveal was more Anthem guff, a woefully generic game that has smatterings of Warframe and Destiny. That's it. Not really innovative or creative, but that's EA for you. Microsoft swaggered on stage with confidence and plonked its cock on our shoulder until we were comfortable with its boasting. Sequels and sequels we were given, as well as a Gears of War Funko Pop crossover. There was The Division 2, which showed us some gameplay and tried to simulate realistic multiplayer chat, which felt weird and forced.
Kit, did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Closer this time.
Kit, we gotta get you leveled up.
I know, please help. I've been busy.
Wasn't that realistic in my opinion? More accurate would be this.
Grow him yet?
Let me adjust my build.
Got my crossbow and chem launcher.
Hold on guys, can we wait like 5 minutes? I gotta take a bathroom break. Actually make it 10, I gotta take a shit. Oh, for fuck's sake, come on, kill this faggot! Oh, cool, I found a bag of crisps. But the ultimate reveal was Cyberpunk 2077, which I'm cautiously optimistic for. I'm a sucker for Cyberpunk, and everyone knows it's superior to steampunk. Fight me. Bethesda. Apparently, Andrew WK isn't dead. I must be back in the year 2000 or something. He tried to warm up Bethesda's frigid crowd, but they were more interested in the hype train. A sequel to Rage 2 that no one asked for. And after Charisma Vacuum Pete Hines fucked off, we had Todd Howard pop in to build up hype over Fallout 76. Fallout 70, bloody 6. Where to begin? Fallout 76 would be Bethesda's most experimental and most unsuccessful game to date. An online version of Fallout 4, essentially. Sounds good on paper, but the execution was terrible. The end result was a horribly buggy and broken game. A big open world, the breadth and width of an ocean, but the depth of a puddle. Reused Fallout 4 assets, player versus player mechanics that made no sense, repetitive gameplay, broken graphics, broken everything, a shitty cash shop, and just an absolute all-round shit show. People bought into the hype because of Todd Howard and his shitty pre-order bonuses like
a map of the world that glows in the fucking dark.
You could also get yourself a power armor helmet too, that you can wear on the short bus, because you must be completely retarded to pre-order collector's editions in this day and age, and a canvas bag, which was then later revealed to not be canvas, and the fans got into a snit, and rightfully so. Even the CD was made of cardboard. Then players' personal details got leaked. In fact, so many things went wrong with this game, it's hard to catalogue, and still, Bethesda are fucking up the franchise even now. There was Keegan-Michael Key shilling Skyrim for the Amazon Echo. I feel sorry for Mr. Key. Your best friend becomes a serious director and appears to be distancing himself from your humble comedy beginnings. And what happens to you? You're Todd's bitch and starring in a shitty Predator reboot. Look at that face. His smile and optimism, gone. Sequels and sequels, plus an Elder Scrolls phone game. No one likes phone games. So Bethesda teased our limp pricks with a short cinematic teaser for the Elder Scrolls 6. A clip of a random medieval fantasy town. Wow. Worth the wait. Fuck you, Todd! Devolver did their ironic piss-take conference shtick, while also having very little to deliver game-wise. Square Enix, why did you fucking bother to turn up? Another Tomb Raider, where Lara Croft is a sniveling bow and arrow wielding survivalist, like she's fresh out of the Hunger Games.
I'm gonna leave you with a video that will give you a taste of what to expect out of Shadow the Tomb Raider and how Lara Croft becomes the Tomb Raider that she's destined to be.
What? She's not the Tomb Raider yet? What was the point of the other two games then? Do you even know what you're doing with the franchise? Then we had Japanese games that confused the hell out of me. But if it means we get more teenagers acting them out in car parks, I'm all for it, just as long as I can laugh and cringe at them. And also be cripplingly depressed by the fact I'll never know such joy. Another sequel, and a Life is Strange autism simulator. Good for you, good for you. Ubisoft and their outrageous French accents took to the stage to present piddly bits of guff about Beyond Good and Evil 2, but there wasn't anything really substantial. Elijah Wood came on stage to promote his spooky VR game Five Nights at Frodo's, and we also got Assassin's Creed Greek Yogurt Edition. Now you're a magic-wielding Spartan, beating the shit out of people, which is a far cry from being a stealthy assassin. But Ubisoft couldn't help but pat themselves on the back for their crummy efforts. PC Gaming Show does exactly what it says on the tin. Lots of PC games, and a fuzzy-haired Daisy Ridley clone as one of the presenters. Sony was underwhelming. The show started with someone dragging their grandpa on stage to play the banjo. To wake everyone up, they showed some saucy girl-on-girl action. Strangely, they then cut to footage from that new Tomb Raider game with the stealth kills and bow and arrow and... Oh no, it's actually The Last of Us 2. It all looks a bit samey. The show only got more bizarre from there on in. Sony had very little to show, but weird fluff, lots of third-person adventure games, and a horrendous improv, lol, so random shit show. Then the audience got mooned in a trailer for Hideo Kojima's cryptic and confusing Death Stranding. It was all art house pretentiousness and a Norman Reedus walking simulator. At least it was more interesting than the other crap. Nintendo! I'm over 70, I don't give two tugs of a dead dog's dick about Nintendo. So, who won E3 last year? Guys in suits, with shares in their respective companies, of course. E3 was its usual overhyped corporate affair. We got our hopes up and just got shown heavy marketing. It was very disappointing and oftentimes insulting. And you know what? We'll watch it again this year and go through the same old shit because we gamers are masochists. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to go hit myself in the balls with a hammer. Speaking of ball busting, Gordon Ramsay is doing pretty alright for himself. He's not just a chef, he's diversified a lot and is now a TV personality, doing Kitchen Nightmares, Hell's Kitchen, and strange one-off specials. Like that one where Gordon explores the greatest ingredient ever, cocaine. He investigates the blow-dealing business, but the highlight of it for me is when Gordon tries to find traces of cocaine use in his own fancy restaurant. Shock horror, he finds residue and meets with his top staff to discuss this travesty. Really? Really? You're surprised that posh gits are snorting coke at a Ponzi restaurant? Also, Gordon, the sky is blue and water is wet. 2018 saw his new show debut, 24 Hours to Hell and Back. It's basically a supercharged version of Kitchen Nightmares. The same events unfold, just it's more gimmicky. Every episode follows the same formula. Shit restaurant needs help. Gordon puts on an unconvincing disguise so he can infiltrate the restaurant to eat their slop. Then the restaurant staff have to pretend they didn't see Gordon Ramsay disappear into a toilet with a camera crew and a makeup artist. Then they feign shock that the man they asked to save their restaurant is here to save their restaurant. Gordon then takes them to his Meals on Trucking Wheels van, where a big fuck-off screen televises behind-the-scenes footage of how shit their restaurant is to the whole pissing neighborhood. Gordon lets them know they have 24 hours to turn things around. Then it's the usual over-edited, souped-up drama as Gordon berates people for being shit or just cajoles the restaurant owners into firing useless staff. After many tears and much footage of shit chefs trying to cook posh nosh, finally the restaurant opens with a new menu, new furnishings, but the same old cretins who are sailing the ship into the Bermuda Triangle of life-ruining bankruptcy. Through editing and carefully picked sound bites, it ends on a high note as Gordon has put the restaurant back on course and taught the owners the error of their ways. Except 9 out of 10 times, the owners fall back into the same patterns that screwed them over in the first place. You'd be amazed at how many of these restaurants go under, even with Gordon swishing his sweary magic wand to fix their fuck-ups. It's a guilty pleasure for me, this show, and all the other Kitchen Nightmares. It's not just the scathing put-downs that entertain me, but I like getting some insight into awful business practices and the mental gymnastics people put themselves through in order to convince themselves that they're not crap. A new season has come out, and it's even more absurd, with Gordon Ramsay cosplaying as Mrs. Doubtfire. It's good, bad television. Miss Havisham, do you know where Autistic Andy is? I keep telling you, Andy isn't real. He's just a figment of your imagination that you created to help deal with the death of your own autistic son. What? That can't be. That is fucking stupid. You're just trying to make me think I'm senile again so you can steal my estate. Bollocks! Like stupid twists and mysteries? Then maybe check out The Haunting of Hill House. Everyone was raving about this show in 2018, and while I was initially intrigued, I ended up disappointed. The show follows the story of a family moving into a spooky house. Pretty standard setting, so to mix things up there is family drama thrown in with a dash of mystery and spookiness as we switch from past to present. We try to unravel what happened to them in that house, what went down with the death of their hippy-dippy airhead mother, and how their lives growing up were affected. Each family member has more issues than Vogue, and that helps propel the drama for 10 episodes. Some are more interesting than others, like the writer brother, who writes ghost books but doesn't believe in spirits despite living in the infamous Hill House. There's the chunky brother, struggling to get clean and get to grips with his demons, while also having a psychic twin connection with one of his sisters. He's also pretty interesting. But there are some I couldn't care less about, like this abrasive bitch with psychometry, the ability to discern vital information from touch. Her story didn't really add anything to the plot, so I ended up just calling her Cunty Magic Hands every time she was on screen. Hello, Cunty! I will give the show credit by saying that it has some very creepy moments, which were used sparingly. But when the show wasn't being creepy or family drama orientated, it relied on jump scares far too much. Some were just unneeded, and one was unintentionally hilarious. Oh dear! The cinematography is, good. One episode is filmed as one continuous shot, or as best they can do that. Impressive, but continuous shots often seem gimmicky, and I feel like the head of cinematography is jerking off to his handiwork. On a technical level, the show isn't bad. Yet for me, there were times where it wasn't that scary. Maybe I've been desensitized from watching lots of horror movies. Haunted houses are done to death, and I don't know about you, but the screaming, stretchy mouth effect isn't scary for me anymore. I won't spoil the ending, but the last episode didn't really have a good payoff for all the mysteries it had set up. In fact, it sort of shits the bed, and I felt very disappointed by it all. Give it a watch if you're a massive horror fan. But the best horror TV show of 2018 for me was The Terror. Great acting, great atmosphere, and a setting that isn't another generic haunted house. Brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and maybe you will too. There must have been some good movies that came out last year. Well, actually there were, and one of them was the brilliant They Shall Not Grow Old. This was a fantastic documentary which captures the horrors of World War I and the beauty of camaraderie. The whole thing begins in black and white with some interesting interviews edited on top, but then it ever so slowly becomes colorized. Bloody hell! World War I in color! The whole thing is absolutely fascinating. This was made by Peter Jackson, using state-of-the-art editing. Old archive footage has been colorized, extra frames added, with some top-notch Foley to bring the footage to life and give you a proper sense of life in those awful trenches. The best bits are old interviews with servicemen who were actually there. It's almost comforting in a way, like a friendly grandpa telling you war stories. At the same time, there are also some very harrowing and moving sound bites.
A shell had hit this man. It knocked off his left arm, it knocked off his left leg, his left arm hanging on his cheek, and he's calling out for Nanny. His bleeding eyes hanging on, pulsing. So I shot him. I had to shoot him. He'd have died in any case, and it put him out of his misery. But it hurt me.
It's good. It's really good. So, well done, Peter Jackson. You are forgiven for the Hobbit trilogy. Don't do it again. They Shall Not Grow Old is very engaging, and you should watch it, because all these men are dead. Even this cute doggy is dead. These men died fighting a bloody awful war, and you owe it to them to hear their story. So, in summary, watch this film, otherwise you're a shit. Somehow I don't think they'll put that review on the box. Well, I think that about covers 2018. Thanks for watching. Roll on 2019, and I don't feel good. The Avengers: Infinite Eye Strain. The whole plot of this summer blockbuster Marvel movie can be summarized like this. A group of superheroes go and have a big battle. Then a different group of heroes go to a big battle, followed by another group who surprise us with another big battle. All of this is to stop antagonist Scrotum Beard McGrapeface, aka Thanos. His motive is he wants to kill off half of all life in the universe with his glowing plot devices, because all Marvel superhero films have them, because he feels the universe is overcrowded and there aren't enough resources to go round. He's like a hardcore eco-warrior. I mean, it's different from just conquering Earth like so many other baddies, even if his motives are misguided and the plot is full of holes. I don't know why this film gets so much praise. Feels like it's more of the same, a lot more. Same over-the-top CGI action and same set pieces that make me feel like I'm watching a video game that I'm not allowed to play. I was getting very bored, and I felt like I was watching any other Marvel film, seen it all before. Then, at the end of the third act, the writers go George R.R. Martin and start killing off beloved characters left, right, and center as Thanos gets his fist MacGuffins in order and snaps his fingers to enact his plan. It was a bold move, and it paid off. Added some hearty bathos to everything. Heroes actually getting a good ass whooping for once. It was kind of moving in a way to see a serious tone draped over the ending, watching fear and dread wash over the characters. Well done, Marvel Studios.
Yes, well done, however.
It feels cheap. The main cast of the Avengers are conveniently left alive, whereas the extras they added on over the years, who have less movies, are all expendable. Even beloved Black Panther. Racists at Marvel, boycott them! Please boycott them. They won't stop making movies. Marvel even uses the post-credit sequence to plug their next film. There always has to be another Marvel film on the way. No respite from the hype. More Marvel. Maybe the superhero fatigue will take over after Avengers Endgame, but there are more Marvel movies planned for after that. You know, I often lie awake at night and stare at the ceiling and think how great it would be if the franchise just ended with Infinity War. I think of all those fans crying into their pillows as the story ends with their much-loved Spider-Man dying in terror. The futility of all the fighting and victories over the years. A massive ego death for the heroes left alive as they realize they aren't that great after all. Life's a bitch. Thanos wins. The end. But maybe I'm just a miserable old curmudgeon. Please join me for the hell that is 2019. There'll be political upheaval, economic strife, bad movies, bad video games, and more bollocks. 2019 is going to be terrible, but at least we'll endure it together. Ladies and gentlemen, the eye lickers.
Friends forever.
Andy, get away from that crayon-munching tart.